Well, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Karen Glose. I am the director of the Center for Career Development and Alumni Engagement here at NCC, and we're so happy that all of you could join us. A special thank you to our panelists for taking time out of their busy schedules to share with us their education and career journeys. I just want to cover a couple of things. One, we are going to be recording this session so that any students who were unable to join us will be able to access it on the Career Center YouTube channel. And I will send that link out to all of you after the session is completed. We're going to ask that you keep yourselves muted during the presentations. And for the best viewing, if you click on speaker view, it will enable you to focus just on the speaker who is telling their story at that time. And let me see, is there anything else? As you think of questions, please type them into the chat. Don't wait until the end, because if you're anything like me, you might forget what that question was. So thank you, and I hope you find this all very informational. And I'll turn it over to Tim.
You're on mute, Tim.
See, the year goes by and I'm still human. Surprising. I want to thank everyone who agreed to be a panelist. The 7 panelists tonight are representative of the quality of the graduates of our program. We're very, very proud of them. I want to thank all of you who chose to attend to see and hear more about our program, the faculty and administrators that have joined us tonight. I think this is a great thing for our alumni. I think it's a great thing for our current students and potential students, and it's something we hope to be doing again and again in the future. What we're going to do is I will introduce each of the panelists in turn in the order you see in the screen. Each panelist will have 5 minutes to tell their story. And as they're telling their stories, please feel free to type any questions you have into the chat box. I will keep track of them, and when the 7 presentations are done, we'll work our way through those questions. And then we'll allow you to turn your mics on, and if you have a question you'd like to ask live, you'll be able to do that as well. Donna Sarah is also here. Donna, is there anything you'd like to share with the people who've joined us tonight?
For the well, you know, I've welcomed all the students that I haven't seen in over the years and have gone on to do great things. But for the students that are here now that are joining us as current students, this can be you one day soon. The students that we've curated tonight for you, each of the faculty here have had great interactions with them, and some of us wrote recommendations for them to move forward in their college career to their next institution. And then after that, sometimes we lose touch with you. So I think my message is, please don't be a stranger when you move on from here. I stay in touch with Sydney, and I follow a lot of our alumni on Facebook. And so just because you leave us doesn't mean we stop thinking of you. So please stay connected to us in some way.
Thank you, Donna, and I'll echo what she said. It's really great to hear back from students, and that's one of the reasons I'm so excited about tonight. So let's not waste any more time. Let's turn it over to Chris Caputo, class of 2007, to share his story. Chris, you're on.
Thank you, sir, and thank you guys for having me. To Professor Azalea point, or as I like to call her, Donna, you guys can't do that just yet. The reason I'm here is because of communication. I made a good friendship with Mr. Mulchaney, or as Tim, as I like to call him, and he was integral in my career development. He is my professional mentor, and I encourage you guys, if you have a good reputation, a good rapport with any of your professors, try to keep in touch with them. As Professor Azalea said, they still think about you, but think down the line as you're going through your careers and trying to figure out your steps. Keep it in mind that NCC is always there. As far as myself, I started in general studies. Out of high school, wasn't quite sure where I fit in. Wanted to save a little bit of cash, attended Northampton Community College, very quickly it occurred to me that one of the only things I'm good at is talking. And I found out that they had a communications major, and I said to myself, what's a better foundation for me than to build upon my skills of talking? Inside of NCC, 3 classes stick out to me, and they're the foundation of what I use in my career today: public speaking, interpersonal communication, and small group communication. Those 3 classes have provided my professional foundation, have translated to my personal life, and really are the focal points that I continue to build upon in my career. Upon graduation from NCC, I transferred to DeSales and decided, thanks to the advice of Mrs. Funiaki, pursue some more training in business. So she had specifically told me that I have a good mindset for business, and I decided to elaborate on that and find my footing at DeSales in the business track. During that time, I had an internship style at General Nutrition Centers. So that was kind of another passion of mine, was fitness and nutrition. And I was able to learn a lot from retail and what it takes to interact with the customer at a face-to-face level. You never know who's going to come in the door. And it allowed me to build upon that foundation that I created at NCC to speak to the customer that came in the door, to be able to navigate through the sales process. And it really gave me appreciation of how I could impact somebody's life. And that was right there in the door. Tell me your story. It was my job to communicate, to understand what their needs are, and to provide solutions for them. The key there that really stuck out to me was when I started to have residual customers. No longer did they come in GNC just to buy a protein or a pre-workout drink or anything like that. I had a lot of customers say, I specifically shop at this GNC because of you. I came to see you. To me, that's one of the biggest impacts that you can make on somebody's life. In the retail realm, I decided I wanted to do bigger and better things. I felt that retail for me was a job, and it did provide some fulfillment, but it wasn't a career. This is where I went to one of my other passions, which is automotive. I've always been a car guy. I've always loved tinkering with cars. And I found a listing at Continental, which is my current employer. As you can see in the background, if I get out of the way, we are the leading supplier in the automotive industry of OEM, aftermarket, industrial solutions. So we specialize anywhere from tires, which is one of our divisions, to TPMS sensors, which is the division I work in, over to camera systems that show you a 360 view of a bus, a mail truck, a garbage truck. So a lot of different divisions, and it's a global company. My job and my career is literally foundationalized on communication. I started with inside sales. So my job was to service some of our accounts, get more involved with my division, the key customers, but on a little bit of a smaller scale. My goal was to be the liaison between the outside guys and our sales team and the inside in the office. And strategically, one by one, I built a solid foundation and relationship with everybody in the office. Each year, we are rated on our performance, yearly review, mid-year, and final review. In every single review for the last 7 years, I have been highlighted because of my communication skills. That's something to everybody that stuck out. And that truly began at NCC, and it continued through my career. Last year, I decided to take a plunge into the outside realm. Instead of being the inside guy, I wanted to have a bigger impact with our customers, to try to provide solutions, to try to learn from them, to see where I could help. I'm happy to report I was chosen as the regional sales manager for the East Coast. Yep, I said it, East Coast. That's Maine to Florida. Now, in a very challenging year that COVID was, communication skills have not been more exemplified because I have the challenge of learning my customers, learning the personnel within my customers, and learning the division sitting with you in my house. So we are not currently allowed to travel. So the communication skills have to be at the highest level all the time. The biggest keys that I can give you are communication is very much about being able to talk, but it's also about being able to listen. To be able to listen to your customer and to my customer is the foundation of my role. To be able to accurately represent what they're asking for with what solutions we provide, and to work with all levels to make it happen. So you promise what you're going to promise them, and then you have to deliver. Three key areas I'll leave you. Number one, seek a professional mentor. As Professor Acera and Mr. Mulchaney said, I really wouldn't be here without the guidance that some of my professional mentors have given me. Number two, in terms of job searching, stay persistent and stay gritty. Without those two key areas, it's a tough road. You're going to get told no. I was told no numerous times. Continue to persevere and continue to stay gritty and put in the work, because somebody will tell you yes, and that's going to be your opportunity. And number three, as they've highlighted, don't forget about NCC. NCC is always there. The resources are there. The people are there. And I can honestly tell you from the sales, I had good relationship with the professors, but NCC offered me a higher level of care and relationships with the professors, with the institution. They'll reach out to you. They're there for you. Take advantage. I know I wouldn't have been where I am today without NCC.
Well, thank you very much, Chris. We appreciate that. Again, we're very proud of you. And just an FYI, everyone, over here at the Mulchaney House, all the vehicles have Continental tires on them. Thank you, Chris. Let's move right along to Azalea Chacon, class of 13. Azalea, how are you?
Good, Tim. How are you?
Very, very good. It's great to see you. So
Good to see you too.
let's hear your story.
All right. So welcome, everyone. Thank you for attending. My name is Azalea Chacon. I currently work with the Greater Lehigh Valley Chamber of Commerce as a coordinator for their business and diversity councils. So we're just going to go into my backstory for 5 minutes. So my backstory is I was born in Easton, raised in Easton, Easton native. So go Rovers to all my fellow Easton people out there. Once a Rover, always a Rover. So I'm also first generation. My family migrated here from Guatemala. So anybody who is first generation probably understands the dichotomy of living as first generation in the United States, right? So it's a completely different world. My family, it was kind of hard to go into college, right? We didn't have any support system in the focus of education. So I even applying for FAFSA, like we were completely lost. So I was very thankful for NAC. They're very supportive in that way. So I was even fearful that I couldn't even graduate NAC, let alone a four-year school. So on my career path, I was like, okay, I'm going to try community college. I'm going to try to make it through NAC. I'm going to try to graduate. I wasn't going to just get credits and transfer to a school. I was just going to try to graduate NAC. And if I can do that, I'll just try and continue more. So when I went to NAC, like Chris said, I was gen eds. I didn't know what I wanted to do. But then I did my research, and at the end of the day, what I was trying to go to school for was to get a job at the end of it. So I found out that communications, you can do a lot with a communications degree. A lot of different jobs are hiring a communication degree. So that's what I decided to get a major in. And then I loved it. I don't regret it at all. I even had Donna, Sarah, and I know Del Quadro's on this, so thank you. I had all of you guys. You guys are amazing. But it was really great. You learn how to do public speaking, which apparently is a very big stigma. And a lot of people, at least in the workforce that I'm in right now, have trouble with public speaking. So I'm very thankful for my time at NAC. I know they got me there. Hey, Del Quadro. So I did love it, and rely on your guidance counselors, or advisors at NCC, right? They're advisors. At some point, I even had Tim Mulchaney as my advisor. So thank you, Tim, for helping me get through college. So with all the support that NAC has provided in the classes, Like Chris said, small group communication is very key. I think it is very important in the workforce to go through small group communications. So I definitely recommend that course at least. And so with that, I graduated NAC and I thought it was a milestone. I was very proud of myself. And then I continued my education and went to University of Pittsburgh, where I studied rhetoric and communications. And so rhetoric is kind of like strategic messaging. So we studied political speeches, we did some PR work, business work. So even just in that realm of rhetoric and communications, you found out that you can do so much with a communications degree. I can work in marketing, PR, I can work in business, I can work in like analyzing speeches and constructing speeches, which ended up bringing me to my current position. I am at the Greater Lehigh Valley Chamber of Commerce. So for all those who do not know what the chamber is, there's kind of an antiquated anecdote about what the chamber is. So it's like the gym membership kind of analogy. So we're a membership organization, so the gym is too. So you pay a membership to the gym to better your body and to better your health, right? So the chamber, you pay a membership to better your business within the Lehigh Valley. So I work with the business and diversity councils of the Greater Lehigh Valley Chamber of Commerce, and I work directly specifically with Women's Business Council, African American Business Leaders Council, and the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. So we are in the diversity realm, and I don't know if any of you guys know that DEI, or as they say, diversity, equity, and inclusion is very trending right now. It's a very hot topic, but I love it. It's a passion that I have. So I'm very grateful to be in this position and to utilize all the communication skills I've gotten at NAC. So when the murder of George Floyd happened last year and the whole Black Lives Movement took full force, I was selected to write this statement for our diversity councils, as everybody was releasing a statement, as you know. And I think they rely heavily on me because of my communications degree and my communication skills that I've all gotten here. And I also lead in-house DEI staff trainings for the chamber, which they tend to love. So I'm so grateful for NAC and your professors. Thank you, Tim, Donna, Jen. So, and that's my backstory.
Thank you very much, Azalea. So nice to see you. So nice to hear that you went to Pitt. That's where my son is a senior right now at the University of Pittsburgh. Apparently people that come in touch with me end up in the western side of the state.
It's a lot of fun.
All right, moving right along. Abby Chiumento, class of 2015. Abby, where are you?
I'm here. Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Abby Chiumento. I like Mr. Mulcahy said, I'm so sorry, I butchered your name.
It's okay.
He introduced, I was part of the class of 2015. I grew up in Broadheadsville, Pennsylvania, Monroe County, and went to Pleasant Valley High School. So anybody who went there, go Bears. From there, I had wanted to pursue a degree in communications from Northampton. I went to the Monroe campus because I was closer to me, to where I lived. My mom was a communications major and she had always helped us with our writing growing up. So a lot of my inspiration to go into communications is because of my mom. So I am also one that I do enjoy talking. I will chat anybody's ear off about anything because it's something I enjoy doing, is talking to people and creating relationships with others. It's a good network builder. So I had one of my favorite professors that I had at the Monroe campus was Chris Armstrong. Not that any of the other communications classes there, I didn't like the teachers. I loved all the teachers that I had in the communications department there, but Chris's classes were challenging, thought challenging. So a lot of her, for a lot of you that know who have her, she doesn't do a lot of memorization. It's not just about drilling things to memorize and remember terms. It's taking that information and applying it to real world issues and situations. And that really helped me build upon my love for the field, because that really is our job, is taking a bunch of information that we learn and research and craft it into messages and graphics and stuff to disseminate to the public. And I also had John Tyndall as my advisor. He was great and helped me get through a couple tough spots trying to just get all my classes together. I think I drove him nuts trying to do all of the honors programs in 2 semesters, my last 2 semesters at school. So he helped me out there a lot. But it was always a great experience. When I went to Northampton, my sophomore year, we just moved into the new Monroe campus. So it was a big change going from the smaller campus building behind Weiss to now having 3 buildings, trying to figure out where everything was. So it was a learning experience for everyone, but it was always a positive experience. All the staff and professors always wanted to help you and get to the next step you're looking for. And I have nothing but good memories and good experiences from the school. From going to Northampton, when I graduated, I continued my education at East Stroudsburg University. I went and got I went for a public relations focus for communication. So I stayed the same as I did at NCC. I had a public relations focus there. I had a public relations focus at ESU. And there it was a little hard to get acclimated from going to a community college setting where classes are a little bit smaller and you have a more one-on-one relationship with your professor, and then going to a university where you are one of more than 30 plus kids, and trying to always get a meeting with the professor, it wasn't always easy. And I really did struggle with it my first semester there. But the following semester, spring of 2016, I had put an application in and I had gotten to go to, it's called the BIS internship. So I was chosen as a representative of East Stroudsburg University to intern for the House of Representatives. So I got the opportunity that whole semester to live down here in Harrisburg, which is where I live now. And I got to intern for the then minority whip, Mike Hanna. And I got to sit in on appropriations hearings, write all different speeches, things like that. Not speeches, like response letters, and getting my feet wet. After that internship was over, it changed my whole perspective on the career I was looking to go in, because I wasn't sure where I was going to go. And that experience solidified me wanting to get a career in politics. So when I came back from my senior year at ESU, I joined Student Senate. I joined the College Republicans group. I was involved in all of these different groups on campus that were more political based, so I can kind of get my feet wet. And upon graduating ESU in 2017, I had gotten a job down here in Harrisburg at the House of Representatives, working as a secretary to start for Representative Tom Mert. He's out of Montgomery County. And I had been a secretary working for a doctor's office all through college. So this was more or less a stepping stone, but it was a great experience because I got to learn the legislative process. I got to meet all the different representatives. I got to make new friends in all different places here. And I happened to make a very good relationship with my representative's writer, which helped me get a job down in their communications department. So currently I work for the House Republican Caucus Communications Department. I am the press secretary for 6 Northeast members, because that is my region. So I write for Representative Rosemary Brown, Representative Joe Emmerich, Representative Aaron Coffer, Representative Mike Pfeiffer, Representative Jonathan Fritz, and Representative Malou McKenzie. And it's an eye-opening experience because it's different. Down here, we're not selling product. We are selling an idea, and we are selling, we're spreading information and awareness about issues that are important to both our members and to the Republican caucus as a whole. So it's very different. Everyone down here is wonderful. I love my job. It can be very hectic at times working for 6 members, because that means 6 members plus their district office staff, their Harrisburg staff, and then having to work with our leadership. So it's very eye-opening, and it's very different, not where I thought I'd be, but I love every minute of it. And I have, I wouldn't regret any of the steps I took to get down here.
Thank you very much, Abby, for sharing your story and taking time out of what we can only imagine is a very busy schedule to join us here tonight. Okay. That was class of 15. Let's move back to the first decade of our new century and hear from Madeline Falcone, class of 2009. Madeline.
Hi, everybody. I'm Maddie Falcone. I am the manager of donor and community engagement for United Way of the Greater Lehigh Valley. I'm also a new-ish mom. I have a wild little woman named Winter who just turned 1 in January. I'm also an NCC alumni board member, so I'm gonna like push that hard on everybody, doing Karen a favor. I'm also on the Lehigh Valley Food and Wine Committee through NCC and the Women's Summit Committee. So hey, Azalea and Danielle. I sort of grew up at NCC. I took classes as a little in the Horizons for Youth program. So I was like super familiar with the campus from day one. My mom is also an employee at NCC. So I have like a long, extensive history with NCC. And I sort of always knew that's where I would start my college career. I graduated from Penargil High School and went right to NCC and enrolled in communications pretty much right away, but didn't know what realm of communications I wanted to go into. Sort of knew I liked writing, knew I was talkative, knew I was kind of an extrovert, but didn't really know what skill set would kind of draw me in. So I took a lot of electives at NCC, and I actually really found that I liked writing. I took an English class with Sharon Gavin Levy, and really liked one of her classes and really liked writing. And so when I transferred to ESU, I went into the public relations track and did a lot of writing and did a lot of electives there also. Thinking I wanted to go into crisis management, and kind of did a lot of case studies on that stuff and dug into that. I was really involved. I took 2 internships at ESU, one in their public relations department and one in Philadelphia working for like a boutique PR firm. Just tried to like gather as much experience as I could. Tried a lot of different things, did a lot of different stuff. Graduated from ESU and actually was working at Wegmans. I had worked at Wegmans through high school and college, and didn't really expect to stay there. But while I was sort of job hunting and trying to find what was like my dream job, as you know, any idealistic 22-year-old thinks that they're going to graduate and get their dream job right away. I ended up finding a mentor at Wegmans that pushed me into their management program, which I really, really loved, and ended up spending 5 years at management in Wegmans, and did like a whole bunch of really strange things. I was a sushi manager, I was a bakery manager, I was an overnight manager. I did all kinds of crazy stuff there. Learned a lot of different skills that I, at the time, was sort of like, what am I going to put on my resume? Like, I'm not using my degree. I'm not getting these like really important life experiences, but I had incredible management skills, a lot of interpersonal communication, dealing with like all kinds of customer relations, and all those skills that I maybe didn't realize I was absorbing at the time, all sort of clicked. And so I worked there in management for 5 years after I graduated, and then took like a hard left turn and quit, and took a huge pay cut and took a huge title cut and became a special events assistant at NCC. So like sort of returned to my roots there, went back to work for NCC in the institutional advancement department, which is sort of the foundation arm of NCC. And that was my first sort of touch into a nonprofit field. We did a lot of friend raising and fundraising events. So there I did some sort of like mundane tasks and just sort of worked learning a whole new skill set, getting back into like an office setting because I had been so far removed from that for so long. Loved it, learned a ton, fell into what was a little bit of crisis management, which I think is event planning is a little bit of crisis management. And worked there for about a year and a half, and switched over to another nonprofit called Catholic Charities. And there I was still doing some event planning, but I also started doing some more writing. I did a lot of their newsletters, their appeals, letters to donors. I mean, silly things like thank you notes and that stewardship piece. And I got to do more of the fundraising piece, which I sort of also fell in love with. So I had, at this point, I had some like management skills that I really loved, and I had some event planning skills that I really loved. And then I was sort of developing this fundraising skill set that I also found myself really clicking and really enjoying. And I worked there for about a year and a half, and then I got a job at United Way, and in my opinion, United Way is, and you know, I'm biased because they pay me, but sort of the pinnacle of the nonprofit sector, at least in the Lehigh Valley, sort of the convener of all the partners, and a really big, really well organized organization. We're pretty spectacular at what we do of connecting community and working to improve lives for everyone. So at United Way, I get to do events. I get to do some solicitation. I oversee our Women United group. So I get to work directly with donors and hear sort of what makes them tick and what their passions are, and really get to use some communication skills to do some interpersonal connections there. I get to do internal and external facing events. So I work internally with all of our staff on a day-to-day basis. And obviously, because of COVID, our whole world has changed and we're no longer doing in-person events. So we pivoted hard and we're living in this virtual event realm. So like kudos to Karen and team for pulling this off, because virtual events are no joke, and they are very, very different than our traditional in-person events. But I have found that I get to try a lot of different things throughout my career. And when I found something I was interested in, I sort of like sunk my teeth in and tried to learn as much as I could, and pull out really like tangible things that I could use throughout my life and throughout my career. And each place that I've gone, I've actively been looking for something that is going to better my resume, better me as a person, grow my portfolio, so to speak. So I've pulled a lot of different things from a lot of different places, and I'm now in a position that my job now is sort of a compilation of everything that I love and that I think I'm really good at. So I get to, you know, like I said, I get to connect with donors, I get to connect with our staff, I get to connect with the community at large. And now that I've been in 3 different nonprofits, I know that that is sort of the sector that I am happiest in. And, you know, I feel like I get to make a little teeny tiny difference in the world in what we're doing and what I'm doing every day, which is great. And I would have been like one of the first people to sign up for something like this when I was in college, because I wanted to, like I said, I wanted to do as much as I could and connect as much as I could, which is why I think Karen sucked me in for the alumni board and has, you know, given me some opportunities there. I was never like a joiner. I was always like, I'm too cool for that. But this is like the best thing for everybody to do, to learn and experience and hear and ask questions. And so everybody, all of the students that are on this call right now, like, kudos to you, because you're 10 steps ahead trying to figure out what you're going to do in the world. So good for you.
Thank you very much, Madeline. And I couldn't agree more with your final words. Just the fact that you folks who are either current communication studies students or potential communication studies students came here tonight says something about you, and the fact that you're thinking seriously about your academic plans and what are the right steps to get you into the career you want. And that's a great thing. And you've noticed, 4 speakers so far, these people seem pretty happy with their choices. They seem pretty happy with their career, and that's critical to your long-term success in your career and personal happiness. Thank you. Sawyer.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me today and for allowing me to talk to you. My name is Sawyer Hoyak. I knew I was going to go to Northampton as well, similar to Madeline. My whole family, actually, I feel like we should be sponsored by NCC. My dad, he has served on the board with President Erickson. My mom is a alumni, graduated, and is now teaching at DeSales as well, similar to Madeline's mom. And my sister went through Northampton and graduated from their interior design program. And my brother graduated as well with a degree in accounting and finance. So we all kind of have gone through Northampton. So I knew there was no doubt that I would be going to NCC to start off with. Originally, when I first went to NCC, I had every intent of getting into the dental hygiene program. And after my first semester at NCC and taking chemistry classes, I knew that wasn't going to be the best fit for me and what I wanted to do and what I was good at. So after talking with my mom and my dad, they were like, what are you interested in? And I was like, well, I've always been interested in writing, so much so that when my mom was the student, she would always have me proofread her essays and papers when I was in high school. So she was overjoyed and excited knowing that communications would be something I was considering for a career. And so I was also a participant of the women's volleyball team at NCC, Go Women's Volleyball. Not sure if there's anyone here that's in athletics as well, but as I'm sure you know, if you are, it is quite a balance. So I was able to participate in the women's volleyball team, but also earn a degree in communication studies from Northampton. And I was interested, like Chris, in transferring to DeSales after graduating from Northampton. And I spoke with my advisor, and a lot of the classes that were going to be some of the general education classes within joining DeSales could have been completed at Northampton. So I made the decision to stay an additional semester at Northampton and work through which would have been my fall semester at DeSales, some of those classes, and paid Northampton's price versus paying DeSales price, which was the best decision for me financially and for my parents, who were also supporting 2 other children going to school. So I went to DeSales after Northampton, and I decided I wanted to earn my degree in communications, but I wanted to do the public relations, marketing, and advertising track because I'm sure you guys know, it's already been talked about, there's so many opportunities within communications, and there's so many different tracks that you can pursue within that field. So after I made that decision, I was still taking some entry courses at DeSales when I transferred in the spring. And one of those courses was a career development course. And that course taught you how to build a resume and how to dress for an interview and what questions to ask. And I will tell you, that was probably one of the most valuable classes I could have taken in pursuing the next step of my career, because I had no idea what I was in for. And at the time, LinkedIn wasn't really a thing. It was kind of still growing as a platform. So I really needed to know, I don't even know, if people are still doing this nowadays, but writing even a cover letter, that was something I didn't even know how to do. So after taking that course, I had the opportunity to attend one of the DeSales career fairs, and I decided to not do it. I was too intimidated. I was too scared. I thought, you know what, I'll wait until my senior year to, explore in that career fair area because it's intimidating. And so my senior year came along, and it was the fall of my senior year at DeSales. And I was like, oh, now it's time. Like, now I have to do this. And I went and I talked to my professor of the career development course, and she's like, yeah, this is what to expect. Just walk around, introduce yourself, provide them with your resume, and just build connections. So that's what I did. And at the time, I was taking a healthcare communications course at DeSales, and I knew I kind of wanted to be in the area of healthcare. I really enjoyed helping people. And if I could have been in the healthcare field, I would have, had I not had such a difficult time with chemistry. So I knew that was kind of the area I wanted to focus in, even within public relations, marketing, and advertising. And so I walked to the career fair, and, fortunately enough, DeSales is very well known for their nursing and their PA programs. So a lot of the different organizations that were there were mostly healthcare providers or healthcare universities. So I walked the floor and I met with several different people, and on my way out, there was a table for coordinated health. And I just made the decision to walk by. And as I was walking by, their HR representative was like, hey, you look really nice, because I dressed the part. I always have believed in dress for the job you want, not for the job you have. So I really put effort into how I was dressed, because a lot of people for the career fairs specifically, they're coming from clinicals, so they're dressed in scrubs, or they're coming from class and they didn't shower, or whatever it may have been. And so she complimented me on how I was dressed, which then sparked a conversation of, oh, thank you. I'm really interested in doing communications. Do you guys have a communications department? And we got connected, and about a week later, I received an email from her, and they were looking for a spring intern, which was perfect because I was going into my spring semester, and that was going to count as course credits for my degree. And in addition to that, it was a paid internship, which what could be better than that? So I accepted the opportunity to work with the communications department in addition to being on their marketing team. And it was really interesting because a lot of the work as an intern that I got to do was all over the place. I was able to do internal communications with an employee newsletter and an employee intranet. I was able to do external communications, working with the different media outlets, helping with different press releases, working on different marketing events. We were sponsoring at the time Levitt Pavilion down at Arts Quest. We worked with the Chamber of Commerce. So there were so many different opportunities that I had as an intern. And if I could tell you to do one thing, it would be consider an internship, make connections with people, because you will not have the opportunity to make those connections as well as you will if you are interning. And not only did I get to learn what I liked, I got to learn what I didn't like. And that's also a really important thing when you're considering a job or a career. So after working at Coordinated Health for about 8 months, I accepted a full-time position because I was offered a full-time position after the internship, which is also another great thing when you do an internship, right? You get offered possibly a full-time position. And I was brought in as their social media coordinator. So I got to work closely with their graphic designers on social media content. And I was working on producing videos and all of those really cool, fun marketing things. It was honestly like a dream. And then real life kind of came into play, and I met my now fiance at the time, who was living in Hatfield, Pennsylvania, which is about an hour or about 30 minutes from Philadelphia. And after we kind of got more serious, I made the decision to move closer to this area, which I'm at now. I'm in Lansdale, and I accepted a position at Next Gen Healthcare, which is where I currently am. And Next Gen Healthcare is a EHR company, or an EMR company, if you're familiar with that. It's basically the individuals who build the technology for electronic medical records. So when you go to the doctor and you have allergies and your doctor is writing it down, they're not just writing it in a Word document, they're writing it in secured software, which is what our company develops. We have about 1,500 employees, and we are located all across the United States. We have offices in Irvine, in San Diego. We have offices in Atlanta, Georgia, in Rochester, New York. We're all over the place, but we also are a global organization because we have an office located in Bangalore, India. So I have really had the opportunity in the role that I am in, which is doing internal communications for our research and development team, to have such exposure to a global organization. At Coordinated Health, it was very much community-driven communications because it was mostly the Lehigh Valley, and there were some, exterior areas like Scranton, etc. But for the most part, it was all kind of greater Lehigh Valley area. And so this was the first time I had to learn how to resort back to my cultural communication skills that I developed in my courses at NCC to be able to communicate globally. And in addition to what I do for communications, I also do graphic design, which is a really interesting skill set to have. I never had any formal training in it, but through working at Coordinated Health with the graphic designers for social media, was able to pick up things very quickly. And they were so great in helping me kind of develop my skills in graphic design and working in Adobe Creative Suite. So that's kind of where I landed, and that's where I'm at now. And I will say no day is the same. I do a lot of different employee communications and employee events, from employee newsletters to our intranet to different communications from our leadership team, our executive leadership team, and all of that fun stuff. So I've really enjoyed it so far. And again, thank you to NCC for helping me in my journey.
And thank you, Sawyer, for sharing your story with us. And while Sawyer was speaking, one of our communication studies faculty, Professor Del Quadro, added into the chat box, career services and student life offer workshops on some of the things that Sawyer was talking about, like writing a cover letter, an effective resume, and all these skills that we sometimes take for granted or don't really think about as we're focusing on our education. So thank you for that. Thank you very much. Next, we have Eric Shirk, who is one of our first graduates from the program. The program started in the early 2000s, and Eric was one of the first people. Eric.
Hey, thanks.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it feels like I was just at Northampton not too long ago, and somehow I'm now like the old person on this panel. Not sure when that happened, but like others have said, and like Azalea said, well, just like I'm from Easton as well, and I didn't have a background where some people grow up in families that everybody goes to college, or they know how to get there, they know what to do. I didn't have that. No one in my family went to college. And so Northampton was the place to start, right? And I didn't even know what I want to do. I was managing a shoe store, but and like everyone says, Northampton is a great place to form relationships with your professors, ask questions. You should just have information at your fingertips. For me, it was Donna, Sarah, and Professor Rob Hayes, the journalism program, who just pulled the best out of me and encouraged me. Just encouraged me every day and kind of showed me I was on the right path. And Northampton's a great place where you can find out what you're good at or what you enjoy. I I was going to mention this, and I actually saw a couple questions pop up. People are at, some people are asking what are good classes, what electives should I take, to prepare you for any kind of job. And I really think, and it depends on your focus and where you are. They may not be electives, but speech writing, copy editing, there's never enough people who know how to write. In my field, you could teach almost anything, but I don't have time to teach people how to write. So you want to hire people who can write. And public speaking. I think everyone in the world should take a public speaking class or two. It helps so much. And more than just in public speaking, it really just prepares you for so many different things: interpersonal relationships, job interviews. The lessons you learn there can be applied anywhere. So after Northampton, I went on to Penn State, and again, like others have said, a school that size, you're not getting the attention that you get in Northampton. So even if you're only, if you're spending your first 2 years in Northampton and moving on like I did, those 2 years are valuable. You really should take advantage of what you have there, and just ask questions, meet with the professors, talk with them, because there's a lot that can be learned, and those relationships are important later in life. And another piece of advice I would give is just, work hard to stand out in school at Northampton, or when you move on, because, if you make an impression to your professors, that helps if they want to write a letter of recommendation, or if they know somebody who's looking for, that's how I got my first opportunity. And so, yeah, my background is I got my first job. My first job was as an assistant press secretary for, at that time, Attorney General Tom Corbett. I pretty much only got hired because the professor at Penn State was a friend with the comms director at the Attorney General's office. And he asked him, he's like, "Do you have any young students who can write? I need someone who can write. Would you recommend somebody?" And, out of his hundreds of students, he recommended me. And that basically was my foot in the door. And that's why it's important. You think, oh, this college class doesn't matter. Well, it does. You don't know who you're dealing with. You don't know what could lead to anything in your future. So just work hard. So at that point, I was working for the Attorney General's office. Some of you may know, Tom Corbett then ran for governor. I was on the campaign. Just at that time, low-level staffer driving back and forth across the state, setting up events, writing talking points, doing a little speech writing. And he won the election that year, became governor. So I worked there for 4 years in the governor's office doing communications. Obviously not very high up. Again, I was still super young, but I was a deputy comms director, and there were 4 of us. And then I worked under the communications director. Very, very busy time, because, back then you're young, you're trying to make it in the world, trying to move forward. And before I was married and had kids, I would just work 12 hours a day or longer. And we just worked. And it was a really good time, but it was an exhausting time. And, governor lost his election. So as it is in that job, when you lose your election, you lose your job. So I was gone from Pennsylvania, ended up a few months later working in Maryland for Governor Larry Hogan. I've done some things depending on the issues, right? I focus on state budgets, focus on environmental issues. So on those types of things, I've been a spokesperson, written speeches, set up events, that kind of stuff. Now I am the comms director at the Maryland State Department of Natural Resources, which is basically in charge of everything outside: state parks, fishing, boating, hunting. We do all that. I have a team of 10 people. We do all the outreach for that, whether it's newsletters, press releases, dealing with the media, setting up events, outreach events, things at our state parks, different. And right now with COVID, everything's different, right? We're doing virtual events, and you're trying to lead a team without seeing them. I haven't been in my office in a year. Everything is virtual. And so we've had to figure that all out, but it's been a learning experience. It's been a lot of fun. And again, I just think, encourage you guys to work hard. You don't need to know what you want to do right now. You'll figure that out, especially, you're in Northampton, it's your first or second year in school. You've got some time, and it's a great place to figure it out.
Thank you very much, Eric. And I couldn't agree more. NCC is a great place to figure out really where you want to go. You can take a lot of different electives along the way and find that thing that is a passion. And if you can build a career around something you're passionate about, you'll have a happy life and a successful career. Thank you again, Eric. And finally, Sydney Taylor, class of 2012. Sydney.
Hi, had to unmute myself. So hi, everybody. Thanks for sticking through. I have 3 minutes and then we're done. Just kidding. So I went to NAC for communications, wasn't sure what I wanted to do at all. Planned to go to Kutztown, that fell through. And I figured if I'm going to go to community college, let's just pick something. I can always change it. So I said, let's do something broad. I did communications, thinking I would be Jennifer Lopez and be the wedding planner. Thought that was a great prospect. So I learned a lot at NAC, and I'm going to kind of touch on it as I did what I did after NAC. I always served in a million different restaurants throughout my whole adult life. Thus far, I did 2 years at Westchester after NAC. Loved it, just did communication studies. I didn't really have a focus, which was kind of great, but kind of awful because you don't have a drive to do something specific, but at the same time, you have the opportunity to take a bunch of classes along with your comm classes and see what you like. Talk to that teacher. Does that teacher seem interested in what they do? Do they enjoy it? So I left with just a communications degree. And first thing I did was an internship at ArtsQuest, which was awesome. It was great to learn nonprofit. I was the event intern. And their staff just really helped me learn the basics of you're not getting paid, but you're going to help. So you just do the best you can. And that's the goal. Just how can I help? And that has gotten me so far in my career of just do what you're supposed to do and then go a little bit above. How can I help? What do you need? What can I do to further myself, but also our whole department? That attitude has gotten me so far, even when I didn't notice, even in serving, doing the extra, just it does get noticed. After ArtsQuest, I figured I would still try to do events. I worked at a golf course that had, of course, golf outings, professional company outings, weddings. I was their executive assistant, so basically just a paid intern. I did product reports, I did inventory, I did stocking, I did weddings, I helped brides take their pictures, I put on boutonnieres, and it was great. Same thing, I was just constantly learning different departments, how to help. And I was still serving at that time, which gave me the leeway. If I didn't like a path that I was on, I could move. I then left serving and went to Blue. I'm sure a lot of you know it, in the Lehigh Valley. And I was part of their event center. I was one of their sales managers. First time I had managed anybody, which is wild. They were the same age as me, if not older, which is a big challenge. Just, how to communicate to these people and get their respect and get them to listen, and also to guide them to do these things that's their job, but have the professional ability to kind of manage them, tell them what they're doing wrong and how to do it better. Left that. Luckily, I went back to serving, gave me a little bit more room to kind of see what I wanted. Events wasn't for me. And I actually learned from my intern director that about 80 people that want to do events don't like it. So I would recommend do an internship, get that free time, and just see if you like it. See if that's something that drives you forward, that you're excited about. Events are really tough. You're seeing people on the most stressful days where they have to show up, and you're not going to get much credit. You're on the back end. And then after Blue and after serving, I went to a marketing company. I was their marketer. They are a package testing company in the Lehigh Valley. A lot of you might not even know what that is, but everything you get from Amazon has to be tested in a facility. And I was their marketing director. So I had to learn an entirely new job and how they do it and how to market it to people. What is my service? How do I want to explain it to people and to make them want to purchase it from us? It was a great learning experience, and I use YouTube more than you would ever know. And I learned that from college. If you don't know, look it up. We have our phones, we have the internet. YouTube can teach you more than you've ever known. And if you have the attitude of, I can figure out how to do it, that goes along with how can I help you? And then right now where I'm at Chubb Insurance. I looked it up, the world's largest publicly traded property and casualty insurer. So basically, we insure very, very large homes, commercial buildings, real estate. And if something goes wrong, we pay for that. We fix what is damaged in wind, fire, water. And what I do now is I am a scheduling coordinator. I call customers all day, every day, and I set up the inspection for their new homes. And that goes right along with serving of you're meeting somebody new every day over the phone, and trying to figure out how to get on their level and get them what they need, understanding their communication of kind of slowing down for those that are older. And then if somebody doesn't understand how I'm explaining it, taking a step back and phrasing it differently, simplifying it, kind of using other terms. And that's all communication I've learned at NAC. You need to just kind of break things down, explain it the way other people understand it. So I wanted to touch on a quote. I'm pretty sure it's from Donna. Quote me if I'm wrong. So Donna, why do you go to college? Do you remember this? There was like, you said it in intercultural comm, I'm pretty sure.
What was my answer?
You said for the resources, for the connections, right? Does that sound like you?
Sounds familiar. Yes, yes, it does.
Donna was one of the best professors ever. I found out I had an art class that wasn't counting for anything. I had no credits coming from it. So you put me in intro to radio and history of radio and communications.
History of broadcasting, yeah.
There you go. And it was great. I was with a whole different set of kids in a different major. And it was great. And you tailored that to me because you knew I needed it. But I was able to reach out to you and get that help, which was wonderful. I also had Professor Avila do my essay for Westchester to help me get in. He helped me edit that. And then a couple years later, Donna, you and I met for tea at your house. You went over my resume. So really just the
Full service.
Yes.
Full service professor.
Soup to nuts. But yeah, really NAC you have to stand out. I believe Eric said it, you reach out and you make yourself stand out, and not just in college, in your job, in your resume, in your interview. If you want the job, make that known. And if you need some resources, they're there for you. You just have to really go for it. But I also wrote just a couple things of prospective jobs and what you should kind of keep an eye out for. In all the interviews I've had, I always think about, do I feel comfortable here? That's a big thing. If you're not comfortable, you're not going to be yourself or grow. See how you feel while you're waiting to go into the interview. How do you feel when you leave? Do you like that setting? Are you comfortable? Are you still learning? Are you learning something new? Are there going to be new challenges? If you've already figured it out, it's not going to make you really galvanized to do extra or to do more or seek that help to really learn. And then the last one is just to grow. Do you want to grow with that company? Then, that's the place for you. And you can always use things as a stepping stone. But I think with all the different careers I've had so far, I've just been excited to learn what they do and how I can kind of wedge myself in there. Yeah.
Very nice. Thank you very much, Sydney.
You're welcome.
We appreciate your participation, your passion, and your willingness to share. And that's what this is all about. The folks who've traveled the journey that the folks who've come to listen tonight are on and will be taking in the years to come. There were just a few questions that were asked in the chat that I wanted to bring up. Megan would like to know what electives would those of you involved in PR and that type of business communication, what type of classes would you recommend beyond the core courses we teach that would help support those folks who want to pursue that type of career?
I think we all said writing. Take as much writing classes as you can. I would recommend social media classes. There weren't a lot when I was in college, and that's something that I've had to like learn and grow into. But if there's social media classes, I'd hop on those too.
Yeah, and I agree, writing skills. The better writer you are, the better public speaker you are, it's going to help you develop your career very quickly if you possess those skills. And those are some of the things we focus on. A couple of the questions that were asked, I'm sharing a Word document because we have some administrators here, people from admissions and career services. And if you didn't see this, Zachary Cruz has said, if you have questions about the communication studies program, the admissions process, or anything else related to NCC, please send him an email at zcruz@northampton.edu. He would love to assist. Let's hold him to that. Let's get some emails to Zachary and let's get you involved with our major. And Jen Napierkowski, who's from our career services office, posted out that if you reach out to careers@northampton.edu, they can set you up with an appointment, talk to you about resumes, cover letters, maybe even have some job leads or information about internships that could help you as you are moving along and moving forward in your career. A lot of the other questions were already answered in the chat. So at this point, if you have any questions on your mind that you would like to ask our panelists, we're a little over time, but we could certainly go a few more minutes. Are there questions from those who've attended tonight that they are just dying to get an answer to?
I just want to throw out before we go too far and lose too many people that most of our faculty from the department are here tonight because we care and we really love getting new majors and we love seeing people through, and we really will invite you over for tea and go over your resume. So please reach out to us if you are currently a major or if you're thinking about being a major. Reach out to one of the communication faculty and get to know us, and we will help you out with figuring whatever we need to figure out.
Even during these strange times in which we live, we're still holding office hours via Zoom. We're still responding to email. We're still checking our voice messages on our phones. So please, take advantage of us. Take advantage of the fact that we want to do everything we can to help you succeed, because that's what helps us succeed. My success is tied to the success of my students. It always has been, it always will be. So I just want you to know we're here, and I have to echo what Chris said. You know, the fact that so many of the communication faculty are here tonight says something about our commitment to you, the student.
Pim, there was just another one that said, how long did it take everyone to graduate? I did it in 4.5 years. I did 2.5 at NAC, which was great. Really take, all you can in. But I also think colleges don't really tell you you need to do 5 classes a semester to graduate on time. That's not a thing. And also, so last semester at NAC, I took 6 classes, which is a lot, but you need to kind of figure that out. And then I know at Westchester, you pay the same tuition anywhere between 4 and 6 classes. So by all means, take 5 classes. You can do it. You're going to push yourself, but 5 classes is manageable if you want to, get those in and then have wiggle room to try what else you'd like to try.
I remember, thank you, Sydney. I remember a few years ago, a student, an advisee, was sitting with me in my office talking about scheduling their next semester's classes. And they were telling me about how they had family responsibilities. And it was very difficult for them to take more than 2 classes a semester. And they said, at this rate, I'm not going to graduate until I'm 25 years old. it's going to take me 5 years. And I said, well, how old will you be in 5 years if you don't take the classes? Think about that for a second. We all have our different paths. We all do it in our own unique way. The journey is important. The destination is important. And don't get hung up on, well, it's going to take me an extra semester or an extra year. And Sydney's right. We didn't reinforce the fact that if you don't take classes, 5 classes a semester, you're not going to get done and earn your associate's degree in 2 years. But we're trying to do a better job of that. But we're also cognizant of the fact that that's not possible for everyone. And you have to work at a pace that's comfortable for you, that's going to allow you to do well and actually learn, and not just get the classes done and collect the credits, but do it well and really learn, genuine learning that's going to provide that foundation, all those tools you're going to put in your communication toolbox that are going to lead you in a straight line to success. Now, the line's not always perfectly straight, but the goal and the journey, that's what's most important.
Yeah, me personally, I actually took a semester off after Northampton, and I was committed to finishing the degree at DeSales, but I needed time to build up some funds to be able to go to DeSales. So as Mulchaney said, every journey's unique. The most important is to see the end goal, put your head down, do the work. If you need to take a semester off, 2 semesters, everybody's situation's different. And the goal is to gain the skills, gain the knowledge, and just keep going and find what works best for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that, Chris.
I'd just like to add one thing for all of our attendees. If you don't have a LinkedIn profile, get a LinkedIn profile, because you're going to want to connect with our panelists on LinkedIn. If you don't know how to set up a LinkedIn profile, come visit us at Career Services, because we can walk you through it and we can help you get a great profile set up, because it's all about networking. And now that we're all virtual, this is the way to do it.
Absolutely. Well, if there are no further questions, I think we can wrap things up. Thank you to our panelists. Thank you to my wonderful colleagues for all the work you do. Thank you, Karen, for helping us set this up. Thank you for all you participants who made the right choice and showed a clear interest in your success by joining us tonight, so you can hear the success stories of these folks who've traveled the road before you.
Thank you. Have a good evening, everyone.
Thanks, Tim.
Yeah.
And panelists, if you stick around, it would be fun to just say